So hello everyone, welcome to Shading and Lighting. So we have a good 6 people. That's not a lot.
You can turn it off for Harry Potter in the Batcave. No one the locked door.
So we're gonna do some shading and lighting tonight, guys. Let me start by introducing myself. And you guys can see my screen. You can't see my screen. Okay. There we go. So, my name is Tony Bagsby, Anthony Bagsby. I am your Shading and Lighting Associate Course Director. For the most part, I'm going to be your point of contact here in Shading and Lighting Online. I'm an environment artist, so I've worked on like Tiger Woods. I've worked on various indie projects, one of the recent ones being Disc League on the Samsung VR. I'm an Indienomicon founder, and I'm CEO of the Corgi Art House. So I wear a lot of hats. I do a lot of things. But that's who I am and why I'm your teacher here in good old 3DF. Good old Shading and Lighting. I used to teach 3DF. And many of you actually might recognize me because I used to teach 3DF not that long ago. And a lot of your names are familiar. So, you guys know that if you're 3DF, you know the deal. Lecture format, we do a lot of class discussion. I want you guys to unmute and answer questions, participate. And don't think that I've retired my cookies. I still got them. Still got the cookies. So, due dates, pay attention. For the most part, all your assignments are going to be due on Monday with the exception of week 4. Week 4 is actually due on Sunday. That is because the class closes, and with the new FSO, we actually can't have anything open past that day. So, your assignments are due then. They're August. I didn't change the dates. Anyway. We're not going to worry about that. Your dates are on FSO. Always check FSO. LMS4. So, yes, the time zone thing. Make sure your time zone is correct. We've had some issues with people like setting their time zone in like Europe, and they've been unable to submit. I can probably retire this slide actually. Can't remember how to hide slide. There you are. Set a goal of like $10,000. Okay, deadlines. This is a new thing. 2 days extension max. If you email or message us on FSO, you can get an extension. 10 points off the first day, 20 points off the second day, third day it's a 0. Extensions are not automatic. You must email us. Do not submit things via a comment, Google Drive link, Dropbox, anything. We will open the portal and allow you to submit correctly. One second. Okay. All right, concept share. So, you guys did concept share in MCR, right?
Yes, we did.
Thank you, Stephanie. You get the first cookie.
Thank you.
So, I know a number of you have already seen this because I've been talking to you through emails. We're not using Maya 2017. We are using Mental Ray, and Mental Ray is not in Maya 2017, so you are going to need to install Maya 2016. Do not uninstall your Maya 2017 because You're going to need it in the future. Akira, email me about that. If you're not getting links to Concept Share, I did send them out earlier today. Yours was weird. Make sure you're checking your Full Sail email, bud. Because I did notice that you have never gotten the invite to Concept Share. I can tell that. But yeah, email me about that. So yeah, use my 2016 Service Pack 6. We have an announcement about it on FSO. Should have all the information you need. We should be good on this, but if you guys find an inconsistency in FSO, email us and let us know so we can correct it. Okay, so where's the information for the class? Now, I forgot to load FSO up to be prepared to show you guys. So we're actually going to go over that. Now, course overview, there's a couple of things. The big important one is references and resources. I went to grading. Jeez. Nicole, do not delete Maya 2017. You can download 2016 without deleting 2017. So references and resources. Here we have basically all of our resources. Playlists, YouTube, Linda, and here are the books. We do have links in the activities, but they are all here. Lecture archive playlist. This is the campus lectures that are archived. The session we're in right now is named the Q&A. It's not called lecture. So just keep that clear. If you're looking for lectures, you got to look for Q&A. And those are in the activities. Let's start in week 1. So we have chapters from your reading books. You're reading in the Google Books or Safari Books. The link to this session, Q&A videos. This is where my lectures are recorded. If you missed this lecture, you're obviously not hearing me talk right now, and you're not going to find this information unless you actually go in here. But this should link us to YouTube, where you can see all of our recorded sessions over there. And here's the lecture playlist for lesson 1, or the lesson 1 playlist. Here's the Linda videos. Here's the campus lecture archive. So this is the archive of all the campus lectures. Now, the reason we do that is because there's more time in the campus lecture. If you guys feel you're not getting enough information, watch the campus lectures because there's 3 times the amount of time on it. So you can definitely get more information there than you can with me. So, in case you think I forgot, no, I am still doing my Google Hangouts. I'm in Hangout 2. They had the link for that in 3DF. It's also on the Full Sail modeling page. I just remembered that we did forget to add it to FSO this month, but I'll put it out in an announcement for you guys tomorrow so you can have the link to the Google Hangout, because I'm still doing Google Hangouts. All right, so that's where all of our information is. week 4, our first assignment is we're basically going over how Mental Ray works. We're getting used to how Mental Ray works, and we're getting used to how rendering works, because we're going to be doing a lot of rendering. You guys have done a little bit of it before in 3DF, but here in Shading and Lighting, it's all about rendering. Everything we do is rendering. Get a render.
I failed miserably the first time at rendering, so I'm excited to have a second chance.
Okay. Now we are going to be using Mental Ray this time. We're not going to be using Arnold, but the concepts are all the same. And, Mental Ray actually does work in Maya 2017. It's just really buggy. The next time they update, it'll probably be much better. But we've literally had people who Mental Ray has been so buggy, we've had it be so buggy that students could not complete the class at all. So that's why we're telling you to do 2016, because we want to make sure you can actually finish the class. So let me go back to my slides so I remember where I'm at. Time management. You know me and time management, right, guys?
Oh, yeah.
So, just so you know, every week you guys are going to have 2 assignments with the exception of the last week. It is imperative that you spend less time on the first one than the last one, right? The last one is always going to be the harder assignment. So we're expecting you guys to spend a lot more time on the second assignment instead of the first assignment. That's not to say you should slack off on the first assignment, but about 30% of your time on the first assignment, about 60% of your time on the second one, and 10% or less on the discussion boards. You do have graded discussion boards. Make sure that you do actually get to them. Now, I'm going to warn you guys right now, and most of you guys are going to forget that I said this and fall into this trap. Week 3, assignment 5 is way less time intensive than your lesson 6. So definitely get to lesson 6 as soon as possible. You will need 4, maybe 5 days for lesson 6. Lesson 5 is lighting that you've done similarly in lessons 3 and 4. So you already know what you're doing in there. So you should be able to finish it reasonably quick. Lesson 6, on the other hand, is new information, and it is going to take a lot of time. You can do well at it. You just have to really, really manage your time properly. I'm telling you guys this up front because I want everybody to do well in this class. Oh, and here's my moderator kitten to remind me to tell you. So I'm doing my office hours in the Google Hangout, just like I did in 3DF. They are Monday, 1 to 4, and 5 to 8. Friday, 1 to 4. No, Thursday, 1 to 4. I'm sorry. 1 to 4 on Friday, Frank Mignon does a go to training, and he has 1 to 5, I think, on the go to training, and that's the open lab. So you guys have available help Monday, Thursday, Friday.
From 1 to 4?
It's 1 to 4 when I do it. I think Frank does 1 to 5. And Monday night, just like in 3DF, I stay 5 to 8. So you guys can get help from me on turn-in night. All right.
Sorry, that's 1 to 4 your time, right?
Yes, Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
Thank you, Stephanie, for asking questions. Here's your cookie. Cookieception. All right, so let's talk about your week 1 and week 2 assignments a little bit. So week 1, we're doing rendering. That's all we're doing. We're not going to be doing any manipulation of lights. We're not moving lights. We're not adjusting lights. All we're doing is rendering, because we want you guys to learn this idea of render time and increasing quality. So that's the big thing. Increasing your quality is going to increase your render time. So it's this playful balance that you got to balance, right? Because if our quality is really low, what are we going to get?
More of a grainy, pixelated look.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Stephanie. Yes, you're going to get a grainy, nasty-looking image. We don't want bad-looking images, do we? Okay. If you're watching the recording, you can't see, but a bunch of people just posted no in the chat. So, yeah, we don't want bad quality. So why don't we just crank the quality all the way up?
That'll make it more distorted.
No, it won't make it more distorted. It actually will make the images look better.
It'll lengthen the render time.
Thank you, Jordan. Yes, it will increase your render time. And so a render that is really good, but you're not going to get in time is not good. Now, keep in mind, for this class in general, it wouldn't be the death of us to have to wait a little bit longer for a render. But let's say we're doing a movie. Let's say we're working on the the next Transformers movie, because of course there's going to be another Transformers movie. And we crank our render settings all the way up, which is actually what they did on the first Transformers movie, by the way. And those render times were 2 weeks per frame. I'm exaggerating. I think it was actually 9 days. But not another Transformers movie, yes. So when they first did it, the renders were 9 days per frame for 60 frames a second for, I don't know how long Transformers is. Let's say it's 2 hours and 20 minutes or something. But 60 frames a second, 2 hours and 20 minutes. That movie was going to take forever just to render. Now, they tuned all of their settings and tweaked their settings, and they did get their render time cut down to, I want to say 62 hours, which is a little bit over 2 days. But as you can see, makes a big difference, right? When you're doing a full feature. And it also makes the same difference in games. If we increase the quality all the way up in our games, we lower our frame rate. And if you guys have ever played a game with bad frame rate, you know what a nightmare that is. So, like I was saying, it's this balance. You want to have the best quality that you can, but still keep your render time as low as you need it to. You got to kind of play this balance back and forth. So, I've done plenty of talking. Let's actually open up a scene and start playing around with some renders. So, I'm going to open up one of your guys' scenes for your Project 1, Shading and Lighting. Project 1, setting my project. I set my project wrong, actually. I want it to be Maya project. Okay, let's do number 2. I may have crashed Maya, guys. No, I don't think I did. All right, so this is what we're used to seeing. I changed this camera to our render camera. So we got a picture of the fireplace here. Now, let's see if Mental Ray is actually loaded. Yes, it is. So you guys know if Mental Ray is not loaded, go to your settings and preferences, plugin manager. And maybe the plugin manager will come up. Is it like hiding behind Yoda training? Thanks. Preferences, plugin manager. Down at the bottom, load Maya Tomar bundle. And then make sure to go to Mental right here. Now, the quality tab is where the magic happens. So the main things we're going to be focusing on, min and max samples and anti-aliasing contrast. At least in project 1. So let's open up the render view. And we are going to render camera take.
That'll be a cool graphic.
And we wait. Akira says, don't start your render at 1140. You won't make it. It's probably true. You won't make it. We're waiting for a final gather here. And by the way, I have had students turn in work without waiting for final gather, and it is not good. So make sure to wait for final gather. think this is the hardest part about this project, is just the waiting. We're done, finally. Okay, so we still have some issues. Like right here, we have these like little lines. This is called aliasing, where it's kind of noisy. It's not so great up here either, but over here is pretty clear. Over here is pretty clear. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a regional render. And by the way, I should have started at 0 because that is actually the lowest quality that you can use. But we're going to keep the render quality at 2, and we're going to increase or decrease this number. This is anti-aliasing contrast. So I am going to take this number down to 5, and we're going to do a regional render here and see how good that looks. Oh, and we can actually see that render took 32 seconds. I forgot to check how long the other one took. Not good enough. Now, the reason I'm not increasing this to 3 is because that's going to really increase my render time. This is more subtle adjustments. So it's like, instead of increasing our render time by a multiple of 100, we're increasing it by a multiple of 10, 20, 30, right? But doing this is going to massively increase it. And you guys can choose from 6 scenes. Some of them are going to take 3 samples. Okay, cool. Yeah. That looks pretty good. So then we would render our entire frame again with these settings. So you know, you can actually go to custom sampling and increase your minimum samples. So we could increase these to 1 and not increase your maximum samples. Sometimes that works, but usually it's kind of best to keep them fixed, but you can sometimes do that. Oh, adaptive. Keep it adaptive. Don't do fixed. Sorry, brain fart. It happens. You can also sometimes increase this, but that'll increase your render time too. Let's just stick with adaptive sampling, minimax sampling, and anti-aliasing contrast. So we're going to re-render this entire frame. And we wait.
I have a quick question, please.
Yeah.
When I open up Maya 2016, do I need to open it through the terminal?
No. No, you don't. It stinks waiting for this render. I do want to talk to you guys about the templates. So I have one of those templates here. Hopefully this will kill some time with this, even though it's going to take up more resources. Typically you don't want to open up Photoshop while you're rendering, but we're going to do just that. Throwing caution to the wind here, guys. I really hope my render doesn't crash. I was actually muted there. Sorry, guys. Wow, I'm really embarrassed about that. So you want to make sure that your watermark here is at 15%. That's what we changed when we changed to our name, and 15% right here. You're going to have to change your min and max samples. That is under here, composition number 2, min and max samples 0, 2, and A contrast 0, 1. Again, I apologize for being muted and not talking. All of your submissions are going to have to be submitted through the actual template. So you're going to save this out as a Targa, and that is what you submit. On FSO, you'll find the naming that you have to submit. You have to name your files for submission. And this is what we grade. So if you don't include it in the template, you're going to get like half of your grade knocked off, because it is a lot more difficult for us to actually grade you without the template. Now, we need our actual render, which is what I'm still waiting on over here. Oh, it's done, finally. How long did it take? 8 minutes and 8 seconds. And where are we? Source items. All right. So, Maya, projects, shading and lighting, 1, project 1, source images, render. Open with Photoshop. So, select all, C, Command A, and then edit copy, Command C. And where are we going to put this? We're going to put this right above our render time. Edit, paste. Make sure you get it in the borders here. If you need to turn off your guides, you can do that by going to View and Clear Guides. So now we can see that, actually I think it's a little bit high. Yep, okay, now it's perfect. And so the goal is to match the reference image as closely as possible. And then we save as. And we're going to save as last name, first name, project 1, comp 2. $17.08. Save as Targa. And I am going to not save my PSD. You should, but if I save this, then I won't have this demo for next month. So don't save. Okay. And I can see right here is what you'll submit, and I will grade. Oh, I forgot to put the render time in. 8 minutes and 8 seconds. Too much render time. Now, you guys have to do 2 of these and submit those. And you have to do a choose your own composition. And I have some examples so you guys can see what you're going to do with that. So you're going to find a picture online and you're going to match it. And you can move the objects in the scene, but you can't move the lights. So you can sort of move the table and the chair. And then you're trying to get the same look and feel without adjusting the lighting. But again, the goal is still to get a good render. So min and max samples, AA contrast, render time. If your render time is super, super high on one that it shouldn't be, we'll know you had your settings too high. So here we kind of got everything on the right, a couple of things positioned strategically on the left. Very good. The Godfather. He needs to lower the opacity on this, but overall pretty good. Okay, one critical mistake here. Do not stretch your reference. I don't care if the reference has like empty space out on the edges. I don't want to see it stretched. You will lose points if you stretch your reference. I don't care if you have watermarks in your reference, that's fine. Very good. Very good look and feel. Oh, got anti-alias, or got aliasing up here. That was kind of like disappearing lines, aliasing. This one's all right. Could do a little bit better on the look and feel. Aliasing here, look and feels good, but it's got to clean up the aliasing, so he probably needs to increase his samples to 3, honestly. This one's fun. Very good. This one's a lot of fun. And he did this with just the items in the scene.
So bulk of our time is going to be filled on the top.
Very good. She even wrote reference in here. This one's cool. I like this. All right. So that's everything for Project 1, guys. You don't need to cite the image. We know it's reference. Okay, so let's start working on Project 2. Can anybody tell me what we're doing for Project 2 here? What's our goal in Project 2? Oh, wrong one.
We're supposed to try and match the scene's lighting as best we can.
Nobody wants to tell me what we're doing in Project 2. Okay. Okay.
Are we supposed to match the lighting as best we can?
So the point of Project 2 is we're learning how to use lights. So we're going to start by using one light at a time, and we're going to be adjusting the settings to match a reference, just like we did in Project 1. But in Project 2, instead of adjusting the render settings, we're adjusting the settings on the lights. So you guys are going to have down here is our reference. So you're going to have to pick from 4 different options for each light. So you have to do one of each light, and once you pick a direction, you cannot reuse that. So if we do area light side, then we can't do area light or side light directional. So you need one of each, basically. Jordan was talking. I didn't hear him at all. You did. Jordan, can you talk again?
Can you hear me?
Try again, Jordan.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Okay, so apparently I can only hear out of my right ear, and I didn't have that headphone on. Trying new headphones. Jordan, what was your question?
I was saying what the assignment was supposed to be.
Oh, okay. So you answered and I totally didn't hear you. I am sorry.
It's okay.
Consolation cookie? Well, I hope Jordan was correct. So, just so you know, for each light, it's kind of best to focus on one thing at a time. The first thing you're going to focus on is the direction of the light. And the best way to do that is to look and try and match the shadows, the direction of the shadows. After that, you want to match the intensity of the light. After that, color. And usually with intensity and color, you have to go back and forth. And then light contrast, which is really the shadows, how dark your shadows are compared to how bright the rest of the scene is. And then light hardness, which is how hard or soft the edges are. And we'll go over all that at least with one light. So let us set our project to project 2. And there's actually something I forgot to show you guys about the render view, but we'll just worry about it seeing it on project 2. But I forget things sometimes. I'm human. So we can actually go to File. Did we open the scene? Okay, good. So we can go to File, Open Image, and we can, those are not what I want. So we can actually pick a reference image. So, which light do you guys want to see first? Area, directional, point, or spot? Actually, not spot, because we can't do it with this scene. Area, directional, or point. Jordan.
Direction.
Oh, Stephanie said direction, and Stephanie answered, so she gets direction. And Stephanie, you get the Triforce. The Triforce cookies. Okay, so Stephanie picked the direction light. Jordan, which direction do you want to pick for the directional light?
Top.
Top, okay. So we're going to open top, and that loads the reference into our render view. So now we can match this. So this drives me nuts. Okay, hate floating windows. Over here on my other screen. We'll come back to that, I promise. Delete that. Create. Lights, directional light. Okay, so it'd be really nice if I had 2 screens actually. Okay, so I'm going to save this first of all, and then render snapshot light position camera, and we're going to IPR render. So what this does is and there we go, that's what my lighting looks like. It's kind of funky, but we're going to press T, and now we're going to try and match our lights. So I know it's top.
You don't know? Okay.
So I can tell that angle's not correct because my shadows are just a little off right here.
But doesn't know how all this works. He didn't bring any.
Where's my camera at?
He didn't bring anything. So he calls me. He's like, come down and bring the bags. And he mixes them.
It's there. Okay.
But why does he need bags? All he doesn't use bags. He's supposed to bring them out. Just use these bags.
And that should update a little bit more this way. A little bit more this way. That's the wrong way. There we go, top down. So we've matched the angle. How does it look? Yeah, it looks pretty similar as far as the angle. So as you can see, we can go back and see our reference back and forth by scrolling right here. You got to make sure to keep your image when you import it. So select Keep Image. Now that we've got that, we're going to worry about our intensity and our color. So the first thing I'm going to try and match is I'm actually going to try and match the color because I think my intensity is pretty correct. And we're going to go into our light settings, attribute editor. And so now I'm not that worried about what's going on in here. So now I'm going to take this and I can use the color picker, and I'm going to pick like right here. Now, value should always be at 100%. And let's switch over here. So we're pretty good, but our intensity is low. So let's double it. And we can see our intensity is now too high. So let's split the difference, 1.5. Ah, that looks pretty good. And that's color and intensity. So I did color first, but you can go back and forth. I find it a little bit easier sometimes to match the intensity after the color. And the color picker is pretty handy because you can just be like, oh, click that one. Increase the value, kind of match it. Works out pretty well. So that brings us to, I think, contrast. And this is all about the shadows. And for the most part in this assignment, that's not going to be too hard because you have to adjust how close the light is and the decay, which on directional lights we have neither because directional lights are infinite lights. They'll go infinitely no matter how far away they are, so we don't have to mess with the position. We'll do a little bit with the area light afterwards.
I'm gonna go tomorrow.
Now, the light angle is what controls the softness, and we do need our shadows to be a little bit softer because I can see right here that there is some softness to it. So we're going to start at 1, and that's not enough. Double it. Double it again. Okay, now it's starting to look a little bit messy, and that is where the shadow rays come in. Shadow rays clean up issues in our shadows, and we'll do this on another light that we can see the shadows a little bit better. But right now, you guys have to trust me, that's pretty grainy. So we want to increase that. And our shadows are actually too... No, we need to go to 3. There we go. Oh, and I need to adjust the light angle again because it's too far back. So there we go. And we're starting to look pretty good there. So I'm going to turn off my IPR render and just do a full render. Okay, we'll do one more, and you would save this out, save image. I'm not going to save it here. That would be foolish. Directional top. I'm going to put 1708. Okay, so we're going to do the area light next. Which direction do you guys want to see? We can't do top.
Backlight.
Backlight? All right.
Creepy backlight.
Thank you, Stephanie. So I saved that. We're going to go to Open Image. And going to go back up here. And then go to our references. And we're going to do area back. Oh, this one. This one's kind of a pain, actually. Why, Stephanie? Why?
Because it looks so cool.
Okay, so I'm just gonna hide my light, which you can do with, if you guys remember, Control H, or is it Command H? Or, let's go away, render view. Command H. Command H apparently hides Maya. What the heck? There we are. Open the render view back up. Nope, I almost forgot to save that. And now, create light, area light. Yay! Okay, so we know it's gonna come, oh wait, no, it's gonna go this way. It's gonna be like back here. Probably here, maybe here. Now the area light is interesting because the area light, you control the shadow softness by the size of it. And you control the shadows by the size of it. It's the only one that increasing the scale actually does something. So, let's do another IPR render. We'll just do the whole darn thing. Jeez. This is typically not recommended, but these scenes, because there's only one light, there's not a lot going on. So, well, that's useful. Gonna move it up. Oh. And maybe. No. Move it in a bit. Oh no, I want to move it back. There we go. Now we're getting closer to the reference. Okay. So I can see this is a little bit off. Yeah. Move back just a skosh more. Too far. Maybe down a bit. Okay, let's check our. Yes. There we go. We're pretty far off, actually. There we go, that's closer. Okay, and the shadows are looking like they're in the right spots, so that's pretty good. Now we're going to do our color and our intensity. So get like right there, and then we'll increase this to white. And intensity, double that. Now we can also adjust our decay, but this is going to make it a lot darker. This means that the light will die a little bit the closer it gets. So I am going to crank that up to 8. I'm going to crank that up to 16. Too bright in there. So I'm going to take this back down. No decay. Put this on 4. That's too much. That's too much. Was 2 too much? I think it was. There we go. So, next up we adjust the darkness of the shadows. I think they're pretty good. Getting your light position a lot of times will nail this down for you, but this just sometimes tells you if you have to move your light further away or if you have to adjust the decay. Ours are pretty good. So I'm going to leave this on no decay. And then we want to go into our ray tracing, and we want to, first off, we're going to clean these up because they're messy. So let's add 2 rays. Let's go to 4. 8. Area lights tend to need a lot of cleaning up, so we might go as high as 32, honestly. So now we can see all that noise. Now, one thing I'm noticing, this is very light. My position's off a little bit. So I may have to adjust the scale of it, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to. Okay, now they're pretty clear, but they are too soft to match our reference. Now, you'll notice with the directional light, I had a setting I adjusted. Area lights, you actually just adjust the scale of the light. So I'm actually going to close this, and I'm going to use my scale here, and I'm going to set it to, first I'm going to start with 2. I don't think that's going to clear it up. No, so let's go 1. So there we go. 1 is the correct setting, and that's the area light. You guys have any questions? Oh, let me do a real render so we can save it out. So there we go, and that's the one we'd put in our template. You have to do 4 of these, 1 for each light in each direction, one in each direction, and then you have to do 1 choose your own composition. So for that, you have to go get reference online and match the reference using a single light, no more than 1 light. So for that, typically it's advisable to get like a film noir, but we have some examples as well. So Stonehenge, it's pretty good. This one's fun. He did this with 1 light. Film noir, obviously. Should be a little bit more to the right and a single subject. I love this one. That was pretty good. This one again, and you can move. You guys can move the stuff, so you don't have to have it spread out like that. And then Dick Tracy. Again, should be more to the right, single subject, in my opinion. William, yes, you can watch these online. You can find the lecture, the Q&A archive in Activity 1. Okay. So guys, I can go and do a point light and a spotlight for you, but I want to open up the floor now and let you guys ask questions. So, questions. I know. I can do demos for you, but I want to make sure at this point that I'm doing what you guys want to see. Stephanie, questions loading.
So if shadows are too harsh in our area light scene, we can scale it up to lessen their intensity.
Scaling the area light up makes it softer. Scaling it down will make the shadows harder. So softer is kind of like that smooth gradient. Harder is like a more hard line.
Okay.
And yes, scaling with the area light does that. With the directional light, it is light direction. With so let's save this. What was this? Area back 1708. Okay, so let's hide our area light, and let's bring out a point light. So with the point light, scaling it does nothing. If you want to increase the softness, you have to go down to ray tracing, and it's the light radius. Shadow rays, again, cleans up the shadows. And let's create a cone light real quick, or a spotlight. So for a spotlight, it is shadows, ray trace, light radius. That softens the shadows. And shadow rays, again, cleans it up.
This is 6 by 3 meters. And this is 5 by 2. Or the one.
So William, you have to do 5. Your first 4 compositions are going to be, so for everybody in the video, William is asking, he says his understanding of the assignment is that we can pick references, we pick and we match the lighting. So for your 5th composition, yes, you pick a reference and you match the lighting. I recommend Film Noir. For the first 4, you are going to be given a reference. And so if you look on FSO, you actually download these when you download the project, but these are the references, and you're going to be matching them exactly with your assignment. This backlight is actually my favorite, Stephanie, the point light.
That was my favorite one too.
Is there anything you guys want to see a demo on or anything? Oh, I do want to show you, if you want to work like I like to, you can actually change your viewport to a render view so that you don't have a floating window. I like to do this. or I'll do 2 panels side by side, and I'll switch one to render and one to perspective. That way I can. It's also faster when you're rendering if you only have the render view showing, so just a little bit faster. But that's how crazy I am. All right, guys. Well, this is the end of the show. If you don't have any questions, I'll happily show you how to do a point light. But otherwise, we can all go home.
In the concept share, one of the instructions says keep all work on top level. What does that mean?
Keep all. So we don't want you adding folders. There are folders for the assignments. So week 1, activity 1, activity 2, activity 3, or lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, I think. But we don't want you adding your own folders. Just post in lesson 1.
Is the naming convention for them the same as for the assignment?
Yeah, pretty much. Put your name just put your name in there, or the lesson and then your name, or your name and then the lesson. Concept Share is not graded, but it is one of the best ways for you guys to get feedback. So we do check it quite often. I even check it like 3 or 4 times on the weekend because I don't have any help sessions on the weekend, but I will be checking Concept Share.
Okay.
I have a quick question / recap. Okay, so for lesson 1 practice, we adjust the render settings.
It's all you're doing is adjusting the render settings and rendering. Yeah, because it's
For
all
2
about learning to render and render efficiently. Go ahead,
Okay.
Stephanie. I cut you off.
That's okay. So we just choose 2 of those compositions to match, and then the third one for the first assignment, we can just basically kind of pick our angle, and then that's the one we go find a reference to match.
Yep, you find your own reference. For that one, you can move your camera and you can move the objects in the scene, but you cannot move the lights. No touching the lights in lesson 1. Lesson 2 is all about lights. And moving the stuff in the scene is only for the third pick your own activity.
Okay, and then for the second project, you want us to adjust the light settings to match every direction?
So for each light, you will pick one direction.
Okay.
So you do have to do every direction, but you only have to do it once. So you have to do every light once in every direction. So of these 16 images, you will have 4. Right?
Each light once. Each direction.
Well, you'll have 5 because you do your own composition.
And that, again, we can pick a reference and just
pick your own reference online. I highly recommend sticking with Film Noir. Obviously, in the examples I showed you, some people did not pick Film Noir, but the big thing is you want a single light because you're only allowed to use a single light. So with this one, not Film Noir, but it's really got one light source. The rest are Film Noir, except for this one, which is just a directional light. So it's just the sun, and it's pretty good. Okay. All right, guys. If nobody has any more questions, I'm going to end this recording. Don't forget, I will be available Thursday on Google Hangout, and Frank will be available in the Go to Training. which you can find the links on. Let's actually go over where you can find the links to the Go to trainings. There should be one here. Should be a link right here. So as you can see, here's the session we're at right now. Here's Frank's lab on Friday. My session is on Thursday. In the Google Hangout, I will post you guys a link in the announcements.
Sorry, you can have Bobby come out. Sorry, wrong slide.
Okay? Well, if everybody's good, I say we go home and get us some dinner.
Sounds good, Tony.
All right. Thank you, guys.
I enjoyed the lecture. Thank you.
Have fun playing with lights. I will see you guys next week.
Okay, that's when you can talk